Hello, fabulous friends, fans, and superstars. Welcome to Synchronicity Web TV. I am your host, Nadiya Shah, and this is your moment of synchronicity. Well, I'm so excited to celebrate with you today my friend, Melissa Cynova. This is the third time I'm interviewing her at Synchronicity Web TV, and she is coming back to Synchronicity University as well as part of the May 2023 speaker series, which is for a very limited time. Choose your tuition rate as low as just $5 a class. That is on right now for just a few more weeks left. Now, I do also want to say every single speaker series I do, if you've watched me for a while, you know I love making quality esoteric education available to the masses. Like that is something that speaks to my heart. And Melissa embodies sort of the best of what Synchronicity University is. She has written so many books. I'll tell you, she has this amazing teaching style. People fall in love with her when they hear her, when they learn from her as well. She did a tarot class before. She did a magic class before. And now here she is. She is back. We're just going to have a whole lot of fun. And you'll get to see how much fun you're going to have by taking this. Even though it's just a single class this time, that's okay. She is our resident big dog for this speaker series. Yeah, because every time I do a speaker series, I like to have these up and coming people, but then I always try to have at least one dog. You, Melissa, you are the big dog this time around. Melissa, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, my forever crush, Nadiya. You're wonderful. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to talk about this time, and it occurred to me that I had never discussed what you do before you put your hands on a tarot deck to do a reading. And there are a lot of superstitions around, like, can you buy your own tarot deck, or is it supposed to be given to you? What kind of deck you have to get? How do you formulate a question? There are so many things that can cause brand new readers frustration, and I want to just take all that away for them. And I see them as apprentices, you know. And as a master craftsman of tarot, I think it's my job to help to reach back and help all the apprentices learn what tools will fit their hands. So that's really what this class is about, finding the right tools for your hands.
And so I know that that's going to be deeply personal depending on the person. And so this single class that you'll be teaching is about guiding people to find the answers that are right for them. But let me ask you, what are your tools? What are your rituals? What do you like to do when you're setting up for a reading? How do you do it?
I get really particular. When I was younger, I would just sit in the back of a car and balance my beer bottle between my legs as I had a cigarette in my mouth and I was doing a reading for people. My ill-spent youth. But now I'm very particular. I always do them at my desk. I always have my favorite incense burning. I always have, I use the same deck usually almost every time. And I have this sense of ritual because to me, doing a reading is sacred space. It's shared sacred space with the person that I'm doing a reading for. And while I'm in that space, I treat it with a lot of ritual because it helps me calm down and get in the space. It helps the person calm down and feel like they can be ready to get a reading. And it has that vibe of familiarity. You know, after a while, I just lock right into the position of doing a reading and everything just works like clockwork, like the way it's supposed to. You know, and I like the idea of being able to give that experience and that wisdom to someone who just started doing readings. You know, you don't have to have crystals and rocks and things around, but it's nice to, you know, and if it helps you calm down and it makes you feel better, then by all means, have your crystals, have your rocks, have your incense, but it's not necessary. What's necessary is a calm mind and body and feeling connected with the tool that's in your hand. That's what's necessary. So that's what this class is about.
It's the ritual, right? It's the ritual of getting ready that isn't just about what you're doing externally, but it's about what it does for you energetically, how it shifts your energy to be that much more open to whatever needs to come through for you through your tarot deck. And so what do you think is happening when you are doing a tarot reading? How do you understand that moment of a reading?
The way, if I'm reading for myself, I think that it's an appeal to my guides and to, you know, everybody has different ideas of who's floating around our shoulders, right? If whether it's guides or angels or your intuition, I think it's all names for the same thing, whatever it is. And I dare anybody to tell me exactly what it is. I think that we're all guessing, you know? And so I think it's whatever we call guides, angels, intuition, spirit, whatever. That's what we're appealing to when we do a tarot reading. We're asking the universe to say, yes, this is going to happen. No, it's not going to happen. This is what your life will look like if you make this choice. We're asking the universe to give us the answer we don't have. And when you're reading for someone else, I often think of it as like my guides and their guides, like playing poker and like having a conversation with by using the cards as their language. You know, I think it's a meeting place for both of our teams to get together and see what works out best for the client or for the friend that I'm reading for. You know, it's a group effort of the universe jumping in to make sure that we're going the right direction and we stay on the right path.
That's fascinating. I remember so many years ago as a graduate student, one of my fellow students, her name escapes me at this moment, but I remember she was doing research at the time for her dissertation. And it was basically based on this idea that when you're doing a reading, it isn't just you and that person, but it's like the chart itself represents another entity, another being. And there's this flow of energy happening between three. It's not just between you and the client. It's that this
Right.
flow is happening between the chart, the astrologer, and the native or the client that you're reading. And I think just based on what you said, it sounds like that for you as well as a tarot reader.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think that there's got to be something. I've given too many amazing readings and seen too much amazing. I don't even know if amazing is the word. I'm humbled at the amount of things that I've been able to see through my tarot cards. And it's a sacred experience for me. Even though I didn't go into it treating it very sacred, I kind of treated it like a parlor trick. You know, here's something I know how to do. But the divine came through even without my permission. It just did. And so I think that that divinity that the universe shows up, you know, anytime we ask the question why, anytime we ask a question of the universe, um, they're there. They're right there. They're the third party. You're absolutely right.
You're such an accomplished author. The whole kitchen table series, that's all you, kitchen table tarot, kitchen table magic. And you brought those two courses to Synchronicity University previously. How do you think that you came into this life with some knowing, or do you think that you worked on it, or was it both? What makes you such an accomplished and respected reader, do you think, now in the world?
Well, I've been reading since I was 14 and I'm 48 now. So 34 years of experience definitely lends a hand. But I also stay in the mindset of a perpetual student. I'm looking forward to learning from the students in the class that we teach together at Synchronicity University, because their questions are going to make me learn, you know, the way that they're thinking. And if you stay in the mindset of a perpetual student, I mean, I hesitate. It's only because Rachel Pollack said that I was a master of tarot that I felt comfortable ever saying that. But she was like, "You put in the time, honey." You know, and if somebody like that calls me that, I guess I have to cop to it, you know. But I think the key to being a good teacher is putting yourself in the place of the student and making sure that what I'm teaching is first of all valuable to the student, but also something that, you know, I haven't seen a class like this before. I haven't seen a class that starts before you even pick out a tarot deck. And so I'm hoping that this one will take a lot of the frustration out. Like it did. I had so much when I was a kid. There's so many weird little superstitions about tarot readings, and I didn't know what was true because it's such an odd thing to know how to do. So if I could take more of the confusion and frustration and gatekeeping out of the process of learning the cards, then hopefully it'll be a smoother ride for all the tarot readers that come after me.
May we talk about Rachel Pollack, one of our great legends,
Uh,
Rachel Pollack?
she's currently on hospice care. She's been ill with cancer. But she has been a tarot author. She's written a a library full of nonfiction or fiction books as well as nonfiction with the tarot. She's a leading scholar in Judaica and how um, Kabbalah and Jewish wisdom affect the tarot. She's incredible. She gives me shit constantly every time I talk to her. So she's a good friend too. But if any student wants to start learning deeper into the tarot, Rachel Pollack and Mary K. Greer are widely understood to be the top two names in tarot. Like those are the two, those were my teachers. Their books were my teachers. So I got to teach with her at the Omega Institute a few years ago with both of them, with Mary and Rachel. And it was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. She also introduced the first transgender comic book hero in DC Comics, in any comic book, like in the 90s, in the early 90s. So she's been a protector and an advocate for trans rights since the early 70s. So she's an amazing woman. And I'm sorry we're going to lose her soon. I will miss my friend. But yeah, Rachel Pollack, look her up. She's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I would be surprised if a lot of people didn't already know her, have read her, because she truly is one of our great legends in the esoteric arts community. And
Absolutely.
I know how much her work meant to me when I was starting out, before I was even professional, right? When I was really just wanting to learn and understand the tarot cards and this incredible way that she writes. I mean, she has books that are just going to outlast her lifetime. Hundreds of years from now, people are going to be reading Rachel Pollack. And so if you haven't heard from her or of her, I would be very surprised. But that is somebody to read or reread again to really understand the beauty and poetry with which tarot can be expressed. She's amazing. I'm glad that we got to give her a shout out as well. So now, as we're starting to wrap up a little bit, let me ask you, why do you think tarot matters? Why does tarot matter?
I think that was a good question, by the way, little miss. That is a great question. I think that tarot matters because we can ask the unaskable questions. We don't have to be in the dark. And tarot, like astrology, is a flashlight that we can use to look a little further down the path to be less afraid. It's a light. And if you think about our ancestors, what was the most frightening thing to them, do you think? The darkness. What's in the dark? And so the darkness always scares all of us. Well, we can look into the dark with tarot cards and with astrology. And we can also look into the darkness of us. We can look into our shadow sides with tarot. And the more we know about the darkness, the less we fear it. So I think that, what tarot does is it kills fear. It's a fear eater like me. That's one of the things that it says on my website is which tarot reader fear eater. Because what I do for people is I look further down the path for them and I eat their fear. And what comes out of it is this calm and knowing of what's coming. And that's something that's really unusual in this world, is to feel secure in what's coming.
It's so beautiful. Yes. And to feel secure that whatever energy is at play now, just understanding that can help you to make a more conscious choice so that you get to decide, hey, do I like the way that this energy is going? The decisions I'm making are leading to certain outcomes. Are these outcomes okay with me? And, tarot can be such a reality check. It is so empowering in that way as well.
Absolutely. Like I gave a reading the other day and I laid down the card and they asked me the question. I laid down a card and go, that's a terrible idea. And let me tell you why. And it started a half an hour conversation about why they were going to make this choice that was clearly not going to work out for them. So the reading really didn't go the direction that they thought that it would, because the reason that they wanted to make this decision was flawed. So I was able to help them go back further to see, the reason you got here, you were hurt and you were coming from a place of pain. So now you want to make this decision and you're still coming from a place of pain and grief. And making decisions with grief glasses on is never a great idea, because you're not seeing things clearly. So the conversation came from there and I was able to talk with them about the loss that they had, the grief that they had, how it was shaping their now and how it could possibly shape their future if they weren't careful. That's a gift.
Melissa Cynova, I love you so much. Now, remember, you guys, Melissa is coming back to Synchronicity University. And for a very limited time, you can choose your tuition rate for the May 2023 speaker series, of which she is a part, coming back for a third time for a third party with students of Synchronicity University. And you can check out more about what she's going to be teaching and sign up at synchronicityuniversity.com. Melissa, thank you. I adore you. I love you. I love the time we get to hang out and spend together.
I am delighted that I got to talk to you again, dear. You're always a wonder. Just delightful.
And thank you, everybody out there, for watching. Until we connect again, take care. Bye.
Bye.